Kitty? Kitty?
TikTok user Domatos, better known as Dom, was living an ordinary, peaceful life until something inexplicable crept into his home. It started subtly. Doors would sway open on their own. Small objects would fall off shelves without reason. At first, Dom looked for logical explanations. Maybe it was drafts, maybe vibrations. But nothing made sense. Everything pointed towards something paranormal. And the most unsettling part? Dom could feel that whatever it was feeding on his fear. Hoping to calm the energy, he tried interacting with the entity gently, but that only made things worse. Much worse. What followed was captured in some of the creepiest footage you'll see.
Hey guys, so I just got home from work, and I was reading through your comments. Of course, I already got this happening. Got this door creaking, moving once again. Stop. I said stop. Kitty? Kitty? Stop. I said stop. What the hell? Nothing in the door. Spirits, this is enough. I said stop.
Many believe animals can sense what we can't, and Dom's cat was proof of that. In one chilling moment, the cat freezes, locking its eyes on something invisible. Its ears go flat, tail puffed up. Something was clearly there. Still, Dom didn't back down. He kept trying to make contact, thinking peaceful communication might help, but instead of quieting the spirit, it only seemed to awaken it further.
I need to sleep. Stop. You need to leave. This is my home.
Then, as if on cue, whenever Dom hears strange noises and tries to investigate,
You need to stop. This is my home.
nothing, absolutely nothing.
Like always, nothing. Stop. Turn it off. I need to sleep. Thank you. Now leave. Turn it off.
No people, no movement, no clues, just a heavy silence and an overwhelming sense that something is still watching. The air thickens.
Speaking of life, I got this reading right here. Trying to focus on it, but it's kind of hard when you got this going on. Stop. Stop.
The presence, though invisible, feels undeniable. But things were only just beginning. In the next clip, something shocking appears, what looks like a shadowy figure caught just behind one of Dom's doors. Viewers were stunned. Could this really be proof of a haunting? Or is Dom fooling everyone with an elaborate setup? His videos have sparked intense debate. Some insist he's genuinely being haunted. Others believe it's just a clever trick for views. Whatever the case, one thing is clear. Something very strange is going on inside that house. Losing a loved one is painful, but losing your father in a senseless, violent crash is a nightmare few can understand. Pablo, a man from Spain, was left shattered when his dad died in a horrific car accident. Dashcam footage clearly showed another driver speeding recklessly into oncoming traffic, causing the collision. But somehow, authorities placed the blame on Pablo's father. No proper investigation. No accountability. Just silence. Enraged and heartbroken, Pablo's family went public, writing to news outlets, accusing police of indifference. But while the world moved on, Pablo's father hadn't. His presence remained, and he was ready to make it known. What happened next was caught on video.
¿Recuerdan el video de la oficina donde se escuchaba un niño diciendo yo soy malo? Pues parece que me traje esa madre. Chequen esto. Es la segunda vez que se escucha que están tocando. Mira, están toqui. No hay nadie. Que no digan nada.
It began on a quiet Sunday. Pablo was relaxing at home when he heard heavy knocking at the front door. But when he opened it, no one was there. Thinking it was just a childish prank, he shrugged it off with a smile, reminded of his own mischievous past. But later, while reviewing his home security footage, he saw something deeply unsettling. His dog had been staring and barking wildly at the open doorway, at someone or something that wasn't visible to the human eye. Viewers debated what they were seeing, unsure of what to believe. But 2 weeks later, Pablo released new footage, and this time, the truth was undeniable.
Otra vez están escuchando ruidos, pero ahora vienen de aquí de la oficina. Escuchaba como que arrastraban cosas o movían algo. Pero no se ve nada. La neta sí me da miedo. Y ese pinche Superman no estaba en el piso, güey. ¿Hay alguien aquí? A la virga, güey, ¿qué pido? ¡Hijo de su puta madre!
In the next video, strange things began happening in Pablo's room. Objects started moving entirely on their own. A skateboard glided across the floor without a push. Nothing and no one was near it. There were no strings, no edits, no tricks. The activity grew more intense with each passing night. Pablo was no longer just grieving, he was being haunted. And now everyone watching could see it. His father's spirit hadn't found peace, and it wasn't leaving quietly. Being a police officer comes with its fair share of danger, but sometimes the real threat isn't one you can arrest. It isn't armed criminals or gang members. Sometimes it's something far more disturbing, something that can't be seen, reasoned with, or explained. Officers are trained to face chaos, from hostage situations to violent standoffs. But nothing could have prepared this team for what they encountered during a seemingly routine call. What unfolded not only defied logic, it was so terrifying. One of the officers quit the force for good. This was no ordinary incident. It became one of the most unsettling real-life paranormal moments ever caught on camera. The unit was dispatched to investigate strange noises coming from an abandoned complex. The location alone was eerie, and they arrived expecting trouble, but not this kind. As they swept the building, a door creaked open slowly, then slammed shut with violent force. Believing a suspect might be hiding inside, they drew their weapons and cautiously approached. But when they opened the door, they found a sealed storage space barely big enough for a child, let alone an adult. The room was completely empty. No person, no evidence, no footprints. But something had clearly moved that door. The silence was suffocating. Whatever had triggered the disturbance wasn't human. It wasn't natural. It was something dark, something no officer is trained to handle. Marco had been enjoying a peaceful life in his cozy 2-room apartment for about a year. Nothing strange had ever happened. It was a typical unit in a quiet city neighborhood. He loved the calm atmosphere, the nearby hangout spots, and above all, the company of his best friend Louis. They'd been close since high school, still lived just blocks apart. But Louis had always been a little unusual. He was obsessed with strange rituals, things like attraction spells and energy cleanses to avoid sickness. Marco never believed in that stuff, but he figured it was harmless. So when Louis asked if he could use Marco's apartment for a small gathering while he was out of town, Marco said yes. It was a decision he would deeply regret. After Louis' mysterious meetup, the apartment transformed into a center of disturbing paranormal activity. Things got so intense that Marco ended up buying an EMF detector just to track the bizarre energy inside his own home.
De novo não, velho. De novo não. Sempre esse telefone tocando, mano. Entre esse horário, velho. Alô? Quem é? Quem tá falando? E galera, tipo, é sempre esse horário. É como se alguém estivesse do outro lado da linha, respirando de um jeito muito estranho, sabe? E não fala nada, mano. Eles nunca falam nada. Ó, vou mostrar pra vocês. Olha isso. É sempre esse horário. Entre 2h30 e 3 horas da manhã. Eu escuto como se fosse, tipo, alguns passos nesse taco. Tipo assim, sabe? De vez em quando a porta bate. Mano, eu não sei o que fazer, velho. Puta, eita, uma aranha ali. Caramba. Que isso, gente? Porra é essa, velho? O que tá acontecendo, mano? Vocês viram, a TV ligou sozinha, velho. Tô vendo uns barulhos muito estranhos ali fora, velho. E a TV tá ligando sozinha, mano. Eu não sei o que fazer, mano. Que isso, mano? Que isso, velho? Que porra é essa, mano? Mano, meu Deus, velho. Que isso, gente? O que tá acontecendo? Isso, velho.
From that point on, the apartment felt like it had a life of its own. The landline phone would ring, but no one was ever there. Lights flickered violently and strange noises echoed through the walls and windows. Whispers, thuds, even low, menacing growls. Terrified and exhausted, Marco finally confronted Louis. That's when Louis came clean. He had invited a group of paranormal enthusiasts over, including ghost hunters, mediums, and even a few so-called exorcists, all under Marco's roof. He apologized, promising to make things right. The next day, Louis returned, this time with a priest. Together, they performed a full spiritual cleansing, invoking protective blessings and casting out any lingering negative forces. After that, the activity stopped completely. Peace returned to Marco's home. But from that day on, no matter how harmless the request, Louis was never allowed to host anything there again. Haunted dolls have long been the stuff of nightmares, but for Enrique Gross, a paranormal collector from Brazil, they're more than a fascination, they're an obsession. He spent years tracking down the most disturbing dolls he could find. But one recent find, discovered tucked away in a dusty corner of an antique shop, may have crossed a line even he didn't know existed. Living alone, Enrique began to hear strange sounds echoing from his doll room at night. At first, he dismissed it as the house settling, until the noises came back, louder and more persistent. One night, with his nerves on edge, he grabbed his phone and started filming. What he captured looked like a scene straight from a demonic horror movie. In the grainy footage, a dark figure slowly emerges from behind one of the dolls. Its movement so deliberate, it stops Enrique cold. Terror grips him, and he bolts from the room, not daring to spend another second inside. He didn't return until daylight. Whatever had shown itself was gone, but the doll remained exactly where it had been, untouched. Many viewers believe the repeated disturbances are signs of a spirit tied to the doll, attempting to break through into the physical world. And now that it's made itself known, it might not be so eager to leave. Unless Enrique makes a difficult decision soon, he may discover he's no longer the only one living in his home.